So there's a piece of property that I'm looking at. There is no map survey, but there was kind of a written survey, and I needed to be able to go and see if I could figure out where the property lines were. It's something that I did with a previous property that I owned, so I figured I'd use the same methods and tactics to do that and document the process. This one went a little bit differently, but here's what happened. So at the very least, I had the dimensions. So the first thing I did was kind of choose what I figured would be a reasonable place to start, and I took my measuring tape and started taking measurements to get to the property line lengths. Once I was in what I figured was the general area of where a corner should be, I started looking for the iron pins that I assumed would be in the ground with a metal detector. Now, without having an initial point of reference, this is really kind of a shot in the dark. You are just kind of wandering around aimlessly in the woods to some extent, trying to figure out if you can find a point of reference. The written survey did mention a concrete monument, but me not being versed in the terminology of a professional surveyor, I wasn't sure what that meant. Eventually, I found this pipe. I don't think it was made of metal. I'm not quite sure. The metal detector wasn't quite singing for it, so I didn't know if maybe it was a sheath for an iron bar in the ground or something, but I decided to use it as my first point of reference and take more measurements from there. Unfortunately, my numbers weren't really working out as well as they should have been, so we kind of went in circles around the property a bit to see if we could figure out what was going on. I eventually found a promising point that I thought could have been a corner and measured backwards from there. And fortunately, in doing so, I stumbled across this, which was the quote-unquote concrete monument. Finally, having the official point of reference from the survey, I was able to take measurements. In the process, we discovered this old barbed wire fence, and based on how it aligned with the property line that I was looking for, it seems that this property may have been fenced off before, so that fence really helped with confirming that I was going along the line as intended. So I basically just eyeballed the distance and put tape in areas where at any point I should be able to see it, and I generally tried to put it towards the side of safety, so if I was, kind of not on the line exactly, it's going to be more inward from the property line rather than encroaching on someone else's property. And there you have it. There was basically only two sides of the property that I needed to mark, so I did that, and I feel pretty good that we found the property line and were able to map out the borders of the property pretty well. So I think we got it there, and like I said, the previous property I did it on had like iron bars in the ground that you could pick up with a metal detector. I wasn't really having good luck finding that with this property, but given the references in the survey and what we did find on the property, I feel pretty confident that we figured it out there. So that's about it for that little adventure, and I just figured I'd give a little update for anyone keeping track of my adventures here. You may be wondering, what are you doing with another property? What about the one you've been working on? Well, I actually just sold that property a while back and have been looking for something that might be a little more forgiving. We actually had the property listed for a while. Didn't really get much interest. There were some people who inquired, but nobody really made any offers or anything, and we were getting to the point where the contract for the listing was about to end, and we were gearing up to just try to move on, maybe just bite the bullet and try to go ahead and build something on the property. So I was pretty convinced that that's the way things were going to go, and then at the last minute somebody made an offer, and we negotiated a deal, and I ended up selling it. This new property is bigger and it's also less steep, so the hope is that it'll facilitate building or putting an RV on it or something, whatever we can figure out to do. And it is unrestricted, so the options are a little more broad this time around. So we'll see how things go. Can't really say anything for sure. There's still a lot to figure out. We'll just take it one step at a time and see where things lead. So that's about all the updates I have for you at the moment. Hopefully there's some more exciting things to come. And yeah, stay tuned. Also, if you're interested, here's some footage from the winter storm we had here in the Appalachias recently. I decided to take a walk and check out the aftermath, so here's a few shots of that, and I'll see you guys in the next video.